Here we go. What's going on, y'all? Right. So I go by the name 510 the poet, and as Blue said, she was asking me where's 510 come from, and so it's actually based off Revelations 5:10, and the fact that I'm like 5'10" and a half. So I used to think I was about 6 feet when my wife checked me. I just got married in September. And she corrected me. She's like, nah, brother, you're not 6 feet. You're even 5'11". You're like 5'10". So that name is perfect. So in Revelations 5:10 it says, he, meaning Jesus, has made us kings and priests unto God, and we should rule over the earth. And so kind of where a lot of my stuff comes from is a lot of personal testimonial pieces. It's about me trying to grow into that king, that priest he's called us to be. And so I'm gonna share some pieces that's kind of along those lines for you all tonight. And so first off, like I said, kind of my testimony piece. I struggled throughout my entire life since I was like a preteen with pornography, with lust. And so this piece simply is called Twisted Attraction. And hopefully you enjoy it, hopefully you're blessed, hopefully it challenges you, and let's get it. The strongest attraction in my life should be to God, and that's based off faith and trust. And when that attraction becomes twisted, it turns to lust. The lust of my eyes, the lust of my flesh, and the pride of my life continue to lead me down roads of disgrace. Similar to Adam, I try to hide my sin by covering it up with fig leaves. See, I would simply delete the history off my computer screen and put aside seeking God's face. You see, my vice was first discovered when I was 13. And when I first saw images, from that point I was addicted. I became addicted to Photoshop perfection until I believed the misconception that it was actually good for me. Because hey, at least I wasn't having sex. And see, in my mind, it gave me a twisted perception of reality. Instead of confessing my sin to God and to others, I allowed it to keep grieving me. I kept ingesting the lie that pornography was feeding me, and what it gave me was a fake simile. And by that I mean it told me, sure, you can find a girl that you'll like that'll be just like me. And it's okay to do this. This is the norm. This is how everybody gets by. It's the right thing. You see, I've learned now that temptation is just a desire to meet a legitimate need in an illegitimate way. And when we fall prey to that temptation, we short circuit our connection to God, and we twist our faith. So often we wallow in our sin, push aside the need to pray, start trusting in our own self-effort and forget about God's grace. See, I'm learning how to live life from God, not just for God. I'm no longer trusting in my own feelings and senses. No longer walking by sight, only walking by faith. You can call it a facelift. See, now I'm only trusting on his sight. I like to call it a faith lift. See, now I finally know how to operate. When you told me not walk by sight, but to walk by faith, you weren't simply referring to what passes through these eye gates. But as for everything that comes through these senses, I call that senseless. No matter how things look, despite my feelings, I only move based off what my faith's revealing. You see, like a magnet, God drew me to him. And that's better than any Michelangelo, Da Vinci, or Van Gogh. See, he came inside my heart to paint outside my frame, break my boundaries and create a new me. And that's the perfect picture, the clearest image, because now I'm framed in the image of him. So now when I write my story, when I write my poetry, I simply give him the pen. So what do I say to my sin? What do I say to my temptation? I tell a good riddance. I hope that my name is written in the book of life at the end of life. See, now that's some good riddance. I mean some good writings, because my name is written in the book of life by the God that gives life. So that's God's writing. You see, what he's written on my heart has gave me a new start. And now there's nothing that can separate me, nothing that can tear me apart from him. See, apart from him, I know I'm nothing. In him I move, in him I live, in him I have my being. Once I start to doubt that, I find myself falling back to being a part of sin. The perfection of the cross shows me how short I fall of God's standard. And now I'm never worthy of any glory. But the beauty of the cross is that Christ took my imperfections and that punishment placed before me. He erased that last chapter, and now it's in him that I glory, because he gave me a new ending to my story. Yeah. You see, with his spit, he gave you sight. I'm hoping what I spit will give you light to his word. See, the words I spit from behind these bars is just me trying to get freedom freedom to me and to your mind. Because all your mind is searching for is the bars in these rhymes, but you missed the word behind these words. See, it's his word that makes it absurd, so I simply take that word and mix it with a little creativity. Stir it around and pray that something sticks. And hopefully you can hit the switch and turn on the lights, and hopes you can make the switch and let God give you life. See, I was going down a path that was so wrong, but always thinking I was right. Like always walking with 2 left feet, never using my right. Until I let his light show me the path. He took me down the road less traveled, because only a few have found it. You see, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And I've heard that they're talented. See, now God is most glorified in us, we're most satisfied in him. But when I think that satisfaction isn't enough, that's what leads me back to my sin. I'm sick of feeling like a Mac, being pimped by my sin. I keep biting that forbidden fruit, not realizing the apple is raw at its core. It's making me raw in my core, it keeps hurting me from within. I'm a leper, and every flick that I watch leaves another sore on my skin, another sore on my surface. It leaks through my pores until I know that it's certain and it's feasting on my heart, making me sick from within. And see, that's how I formed an addiction, because I just wanted to watch fulfill my lust again and again. But in the end, when the feast is done, it leaves me empty and I feel like I'll never win. So then, how do I overcome this? I've even heard pastors say, take a cold shower, work out, do things to stay preoccupied and keep your mind off of this. But when I'm sitting alone in my office, and it's 3 a.m. and there's no one to notice, how do I overcome this? How do I overcome this temptress? When the 7 principles to get free that I got last week are no longer working for me, I hear God say, my grace is sufficient. My power is made perfect in your weakness. The only thing I've learned to work and the only one I know to trust in is Jesus. He's my answer, he always was and he always will be. So now my response is, Lord, not my will be done, but yours through me. So now unto him who is able to keep me from falling and to present me faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Amen. So I can't sing, but I want to sing like I'm free right now. It would be terrible. But I said I'm free. But I'm free. So sticking along that vein, you know, I think the freedom comes from that deliverance, you know, that addiction that I was stuck in. And so we're gonna keep going kind of like along my life. And so something that really troubles me and challenges me, there's a lot that's been happening in society lately with simply with police brutality and everything. And so it made me really question my belief, my faith. You know, I was always grew up to believe in our justice system and believe in the police and just believe that there's a greater good in people, you know, and everything. And so that really challenged me over the time. So I challenged myself to write a piece about it. So this is kind of a lot of my favorite artists. They say that there's two kind of artists that comes from people who are Christian. You have Christian artists who make art that's for the church, and you have people that make art that's from the church. And so I think this piece is kind of like more from the church for others. So hopefully you enjoy this as well. This is simply called Guilty. I thought I was innocent until proven guilty. But all I feel like is Emmett Till because I'm always guilty based off my skin complexion. I'm not even that dark skinned, but now I'm starting to have a complex about my complexion because apparently my reflection comes across as criminal. It's funny because my ancestors had to worry about men wearing hoods, being lynched and burning crosses in their lawns. Now I have to worry about my sons wearing a hood, not hip to this game of chess, and instead of being recognized as kings, they're shot down because they're identified as pawns. And similar to Trayvon, all they want is some Skittles and an iced tea. And I have to tell them, even though they're only 4 and 5, sons, don't take life so lightly, because it just might be in that moment that you're viewed as a suspect. God, I know that you're sovereign and in control, but please help this lost soul, because in a world that's so cold, I don't feel protected by those we've elected to keep the justice. Instead, I feel neglected. When crooked cops use chokeholds, buckshots and Glocks to patrol the flock, I'm left feeling like a sheep lost from its flock. I pray to my shepherd, protect me from these wolves in sheep's clothing, because they no longer use teeth, they only use shots. And I don't even walk around strapped. But when I'm constantly attacked, the only logical reason you can give is that I match the description, i.e. I'm black. It's a fact that I no longer sit back and at all these injustices I'll react. It's only in my nature to fight back. Some may say I'm over-exaggerating. I say you don't understand. In the words of Dr. King, injustice anywhere is better than justice everywhere. As a black man, it's time to take a stand. No, I may not have known Mike Brown, Eric Garner, Ezell Ford, Oscar Grant, Jordan Davis, Jordan Edwards, Philando Castile, or Tamir Rice. I may not have known who was innocent or guilty, but I know that it could have been me. And the loss of life at the hand of injustice is never right, whether it's black or white. I feel like I'm playing checkers against a corrupt system that's playing chess. Because every time I yell, look, I'm a king, look, I'm a king, king me, I pound it from my chest, and someone yells, checkmate. And they've taken our queens, taken our pawns, taken our rooks, taken our knights, taken our rights, taken our life. And all I've left to do is surrender. These black kings are constantly losing in this game called life. No matter black or white, we all bleed red. And it's that same red blood from Christ that redeems us from the dead. So how do I have faith in a system where those who are called to police wrongdoing are guilty of it themselves? I don't. When I have doubts that our black and white issues are so broken in society we'll never know how to end, I rejoice because I have someone greater to turn to. I have faith that God will bring justice in the end. Guilty. Right. So one more quick piece. So like I said, another thing that I really struggled with throughout my life was just trying to overcome fear. I settled for a long time in my life where I was at. I have two sons now, 5 and 4, and when my son's mom gave birth to my son, that really forced me to kind of reevaluate my life and look at where I was and push me forward. Mature and be that man, that king, that priest I feel like God's called us to be. And so this piece talks about that. It's simply called fear. She whispered in my ear at 4:41 in the morning and said, I'm never letting you go. Her cousin Fear had me crippled for so long I could call him 4 blocks. So I finally became fed up. Remembered how to drive and said no. She finally revealed herself and it all became clear. Pain was her maiden name. Worry an alias. Doubt her master and she wanted to be mine, just failed this last test. My prayers were far away. She said, I love you. You can call me stress. I'm trying to continue on this faith walk, but I keep stumbling and don't know how to get up because fear cripples. Too afraid of change and to move forward because I'm stuck in fear crippled. And I know that you, the truth, may be simple, but when you live to please others, you become enslaved to their happiness, in bondage to their freedom. Fakeness becomes your lifestyle, a lie becomes your identity, and you can't move on because the truth is you're crippled in fear. And your blessings seem to never come near because although you're stuck in that prayer position on your knees, it's not from your faith, it's from your fear. And all you ever seem to hear is a constant reminder that you're never enough, that you should just give up. See, that's how your biggest enemy operates. She constantly feeds you and feeds you to fake until these false appetizers of lies start to taste like the main course of your reality. And the reality is you're depressed, stuck in a lonely state where all you can do is contemplate and ask yourself what's next. And you start to question what's God's best. Because I never received the more, all I ever received is the less. It's a place where you find yourself drowning in your stress because you measure your happiness off of your success. And in your mind you have none. See, I was a 29-year-old man with a newborn baby, still living at home with parents. A college graduate that was already a has-been, basking in failure, knowing success will never happen. Finding myself not just repenting for past sins, but for terrible decisions made past, present, future. Lord, please give me a tutor, an angel, a guide, someone to show me how to get this time right, someone to show me how to stop moving back forwards, and someone to show me how to make what I left right. Lord, please help me to figure this thing called life out. How did I have a baby by this woman I never intended to make a wife out of? So the year was 2012 then. I've been stuck in the same job for the past 4 years, with the same company for the past 7. Back and forth in a relationship with the same woman for the past 11 years, and no, I'm not proud of it. It was all because of my fear. Fear makes cowards out of men. It turns men into boys, and that's exactly what I was because all I did was play games with a heart. My prayers were so far from heaven, I started to doubt God's presence in my life. Living below paycheck to paycheck. From payday loans to 401k loans, I became a vet and staying in debt. I ran so far from God's direction and destiny until the point where all my visions were blinded. My dreams, nightmares couldn't wake me up, and I was Jonah swallowed up in my doubts. That was my beast belly. And there was nothing you could tell me to help end this hell where my fear constantly held me. My faith falling away, I felt God had failed me. I get on stage to put on this faith front to help others, while inside my soul is drowning, gasping for air, and stress keeps pouring the light vest away. There's no avail for me. Do you know what it's like for everyone to tell you they see so much potential in you, but you can't see past your mistakes and present nothings? That's what fear brings. She's the perfect temptation. Knows your weaknesses, studies your passions, anticipates your dreams, opens the door scantily clad in a two-piece, has candles lit, music playing, dinner fixed, invites you in, says all the right things, massages your shoulders, kisses your neck, and suddenly it seems you're in your love Jones, your brown sugar, you're loving basketball, your favorite romantic movie love scene, to the point where you accept the lies and you're satisfied in the deception. That stress is the most powerful weapon. That's how I fell prey to her trap. Her final attack, 2 years ago at 32 years old, I had a heart attack. But I stand before you a living testimony that despite all my doubt, despite all my unbelief, despite all my fear, God's grace is enough for me. He never left my back. 2 years later, my heart is healthy. I'm happy, married to a beautiful woman with loving children. I love the Lord and I know my life is called according to His purpose. All things work together for good. What the enemy meant for evil, God turned it for good. She finally revealed herself and it all became clear. Pain was her maiden name, worry an alias, doubt her mastery. She wanted to be mine, just failed this last test. Even when my fear said yes, my God said no. Continue on. You're still blessed. Thank you. That's it. Y'all want to check me out? Follow me. On my Instagram, Facebook, everything is 510Poet. It's 510Poet, /510Poet on Facebook and YouTube.